Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to Cooking with Pouncy. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If it's your first time, please tune in again and again. Subscribe to my channel if you like what you see, guys, and let me know what you think as well, and pass this on as you see fit. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight we're going to do a beef barley soup tonight. I've already diced up my celery. I've got my onions here. I've got my carrots here. I've got some shiitake mushrooms here that I'm going to use. You can use any mushrooms or not that you'd like in your own beef barley soup. I've got some chicken stock here as well. I'm going to use all three of these containers here. These three happen to be beef base. A couple of them are no salt. I don't know how I wind up doing this, but some of them does have salt. But watch your sodium, guys, okay? Some what's called pearl barley here. Medium. This is medium pearl barley here. I'm going to be using that. In fact, it's going to be a cup, and all of these ingredients will be in the ingredient list for you guys. Okay. So we got our pearl barley. I'm also going to add about maybe 3 tablespoons of tomato paste just to give it a little more body and flavor. Going to be using about 3 tablespoons of that. To taste, I'm going to do some ground pepper, black pepper. And I'll be using a couple of bay leaves. I'm almost out of bay leaves. I got some bay leaf crumbs. There's a couple, 2 halves in there. I'll use a whole bay leaf equivalent, okay? So some bay leaves. Make sure you take those bay leaves out of whatever you're preparing before you serve that dish, okay? I'm going to be braising my meat off with some olive oil. Probably going to use 3.5 to maybe 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And let's mention the salt while I'm here. Salt to taste as well, along with that pepper I just mentioned to you. Again, watch your sodium. I'm going to be using probably 2 tablespoons of this beef base as well, the beef base of your choice. Again, just for some more flavor and some more body for this this wonderful soup that we're going to put together tonight. So that's what I'm going to be using as well. Again, a couple of tablespoons full of that. I'm trying not to miss anything here for you guys, and I've got my meat. I picked this up this afternoon at my local market. This happens to be tri-tip sirloin steak, and looking at it, I'm going, okay, all right. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut this up and braise it off for the meat portion of the soup. Okay, our tri-tip sirloin, it's called, and actually this is almost 2 pounds. I'm going to use the majority of this meat, if not all, in this recipe. Again, I'm, as Cooking with Pouncy typically does, I'm sort of ad-libbing here with this process. So let's do this diced up deal. This is how it came. Kind of looks like country style spare ribs, the way it's cut. And I'm going to cut this tail off because it's too long and it's looking at me. Let's cut that off for the moment. And almost like when you're doing a beef stew, you got to cook it for a long time because the meat is not top quality meat, but it's very, very good if you cook it correctly. So I'm going to split this a little bit. All right, and again, this is about 2 pounds of meat here. So let's say about 1.5 pounds now. So let's do this process. If you guys have watched Cooking with Pouncy as well, this meat, as I can see, and you probably can't, the grain is running this way. So what we want to do is we want to cut across that grain this way. Always, no matter what kind of meat you have, always cut it across that grain, and I can plainly see the grain. You can too if you had it right in front of you. You can see the grain running this way, and I'm going to cut this way, all right? But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this because I don't want slices that wide. Let's cut this in half this way, okay? Let's do that, and right down the middle. And then we'll go, again, I didn't break it apart, so I'm still going to cut across the grain just as it is, all right? So let's do that. And I'm going to make it pieces like this. Let me show it to you like that. Yeah, bite-sized pieces, or smaller. That's how I'm going to cut it, all right? That's what we're going to do with this little chunk of meat here. You can cut yours any way you want to cut it. It doesn't have to be like Cooking with Pouncy. But that's how we're going to do this process right here. Doesn't take long, guys. I'm talking more than it, rambling here more than it takes time to get it done here. But I just wanted to show you how I'm going to do this, okay? And again, I got pieces like that. These are little 1-inch pieces there. Because it's going to shrink as well, as it starts to get braised off. Got to watch my heat here. I did turn it on low. I got my oil heating. I've got about 3 tablespoons of oil in there. And when you come back, I'll have all this diced up, guys, okay? I'm going to trim that excess fat off because I don't like it. I don't want it on there. So let's just trim that off while you're watching it. Just cut that off. And we're done with that part of it. Again, guys, when you come back, a little celibacy in there. And when you come back, you'll see the rest of this meat cut up, and then I'm going to bring it over to the range and show you how I'm going to braise it off. And again, I got 3 tablespoons of oil in here. If I said it differently, I'm sorry. Okay, it's just not starting to hear that. That's what I want. That's what I want, okay? We're going to go ahead and get this braised off or browned off. I wish I could say it looks good right now, but it doesn't because it's not cooked. It'll be looking good shortly, though, guys. Okay. All right, we're going to let that do its thing with the browning process. And I'll keep stirring it here. Not continually. I'm just going to let it start doing its thing. Because the meat itself also has fat in it. So again, I've got about 3 tablespoons, I think I told you, of olive oil in there. The meat also has fat in it, so there you have it. All right. Okay. And this is going to be meaty. I say more meat, more better. So we're going to kick it up a little bit because I'm going to be watching it continually throughout this browning process. And it won't burn. And I won't bore you with the rest of that deal. So as it's brown, I'm going to, instead of taking my meat out of here, this is nice and brown, cooking like crazy. I'm going to go ahead and dump my vegetables in here and go ahead and get those things sauteed off right now. That's what I'm going to do. Rather than doing the meat deal, I'm putting my vegetables in there right now. Okay, that's what I just decided to do on the spur of the moment. Why not? Okay, so let's just do that. Let's just get those vegetables in there. And I got to make sure my heat isn't too high here. I don't want to start sticking to the bottom of the dish here. And that's looking pretty good. Now, yeah, they're going to sweat in here. Just dropped a piece of carrot or the celery on the floor there. And that's enough fat in there right now too, I think, to get those vegetables a little translucent. And that's what we're going to do here, guys, okay? I'm just telling you, cooking with Pouncy ad-libs a lot, but you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that either. All my liquid is probably just about gone here. The vegetables are going to sweat. It'll give me a little more liquid, and I don't want to put my stock in there yet either, till those vegetables start to sweat, guys. Okay. I did turn the heat down a little bit. I put a little salt and pepper on that meat. I think you can see that. Yes. Got a little salt and pepper on that meat, and I'm watching what's going on here. They're getting coated with the remaining fat that was in there. And they're still cooking, doing their thing, all right? You know, cooking with Pouncy, just happened to think of that. Again, I haven't made this for a long time. I don't remember whether I used to take the meat out and then set it aside and then do the vegetables. I thought while I was cooking, I said, no, I'm going to do what I'm doing now, what you see. And that's how we're going to put this together. Anyway, it doesn't require as much stirring. It's just kind of doing this thing and cooking as I stir. I got my bay leaf in there already too. I put the bay leaf in there as that meat was cooking actually. And again, guys, if you're cooking with bay leaves, make sure you take them out before you serve your meal, okay? My vegetables are starting to get translucent here, guys. I like it. I like it. I'm going to let this go probably another 4 or 5 minutes, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and put the rest of our ingredients in here. All right, guys, we're about at that point now where I'm going to add my tomato paste, as I told you. The vegetables are looking good. This is just a regular kitchen tablespoon, guys, okay? I'm going to put a heaping one in here, and then a heaping another one, okay? Just 2 maybe, all right? Let's go with 2 for now. And we're going to coat this whole thing here with it. Let's just do that. Just going to coat this. So you can see what I'm doing. I get my hand out of the way. Okay. That's what we're doing here. All right, I'm going to start adding liquid because I do not want that to start sticking on the bottom there, okay? And we're just going to do that right now. And it's looking good. Here we go, guys. Here's the first of probably 3 of these containers. I shook them, as you should as well. And the label says shake as well. Okay, there we go. That's one of them. Okay. Looks good. Looking good, guys. I got the second one already open as well. Let's just do that one here now, too. You guys see what I'm doing with that spatula or bowl scraper? You're doing this so it won't spatter back on you. And I'm squeezing it pretty hard, as you can see. But that's what you do to deflect that from hitting that liquid and splashing back on you. It's a little tip, okay? That's looking good, guys. Yes, it is. I'm going to be, again, turning this thing down to simmer. And a little bit here. And again, that's 2 containers of liquid. I'm kind of eyeballing it as well here now, so we have a good ratio of barley. That barley is going to really swell too once it goes in there, okay? So I'm going to be tasting this a little bit for seasoning. Some little bay leaf is floating around in there all by itself. That's looking good, guys. Mushrooms are still back there, obviously. Let's do this. I need some salt. Don't need the salt, but you know what I'm saying, guys. Got to have some flavor. And I'm going to put some beef base in there. And guess what that's going to do? That's going to add a whole bunch of salt because it's almost all salt. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just do that. I'm going to go with let's go with heaping one of these for now. Just one of those for now. Because I went and put a little salt, as you saw, in there, and probably shouldn't have, because that stuff, again, this stuff is salt. Okay, it's got a lot of flavor, but it's a lot of salt as well, guys. So again, watch your sodium. Now, I'm just kind of dissolving that as I'm rolling it in here. And I think I'll put a little black pepper in there too. Let's put some black pepper in there. To taste again, guys, okay? This is a hearty soup, especially this time of year when it starts getting a little chilly out. Okay, I'm going to do the old drip in the hand and lick it off again, guys. That's kind of rude, isn't it? Let's just do that. I'm going to say that's enough. I'm going to say that's enough. And again, it's to taste, guys, okay? Okay, and I'm going to, I got 2 of those. I said I might use 3, and I still might. I just might still do that. But that'll be as it starts to cook. Once I get my barley in there, and the barley starts to thicken this thing up a bit, and I can always, and you can too, you can always add that more liquid that you need to get the consistency that you want for it. Now I'm going to cover this. I can see what's happening inside of it, okay? And you can see that too. All right, so I'm going to let that simmer, and it'll depend on the tenderness of the meat. I'm going to say I'm going to let it simmer right now as we speak for about, once it starts boil off, turn it on down to simmer, I think I'll just let it go for about a half hour. And I think all total on this whole thing will have about an hour and, depending of the meat, the vegetables and all that stuff, probably about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes, okay? So I'm kicking it down so it starts doing its own thing. I'll be back with you when I'm ready to put the barley in there. Hey guys, we're back, and for the most part, this beef barley soup is done. The last thing I did was I added the shiitake mushrooms. Again, you can put whatever kind of mushrooms you want to put in your mushrooms, independent of cooking with Pouncy or no mushrooms at all. Anyway, it looks really, really good. It smells really, really good as well, guys. The things I did as well, it's a full-bodied soup, as you can see here. One of the things I'm doing as well, I'm cooking another half a cup. There's 1 cup of barley in here. That barley didn't puff as much as I thought it would. And I'll just kind of show you what I'm talking about here. It's got a lot of barley in it. It's got a cup. Okay, you can see it throughout the ladle here, of course. Okay, you can see it. It sinks to the bottom right away. But anyway, I'm cooking another half of cup because I want more body than this in this soup, seeing as how that's what we're having for dinner tomorrow. And then I'll just add that to this after this whole production is done, guys, okay? I just wanted to share that with you. Again, every ladle has barley in it, but I want a little bit more barley, and it's really, really good. I've tasted it a couple of times. Meat's nice and tender, as I indicated earlier. And all of this will be in the ingredient list for you. Don't forget to take your bay leaves out if you're going to put bay leaves in it. Again, I think you can see what I got going here. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Cooking with Pouncy. Sorry about that. Tuning in to Cooking with Pouncy on this journey with this beef barley soup. Again, if you like what you see, guys, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it if you did. Let me know what you think and pass this on as you see fit as well. And again, good night, guys. We'll see you next time.